It's AZ Audibles on Sports 360 AZ. As always, Eric Sorensen, Jordan Ham, Jared Cohen. We like to go around the state of Arizona, kind of doing a little roundtable discussion around high school football in the state. And the season is winding down. Eric, before we get into games we're looking forward to this coming week, you saw an interesting game between Cactus and Higley. Higley known for their offense, but there were some defensive guys that stood out to you.
Yeah, Mason Crosland, their quarterback, first time I got to see him, just quickly on their offense. They are a machine. They put up big numbers. But on the defensive side of the ball, Austin Matthews, one of their defensive linemen, had a huge game against the Cobras. 3 sacks and 9 total tackles. For the season, he is second on the team in sacks and one of their leaders up front.
And mentioning Higley, maybe because their defense has improved, that could be what gets them over the hump this season. How about you, Jordan? You saw the big marquee matchup between Desert Ridge and Mountain Point.
Yeah, Mountain Point, the #1 team in the state, for a very good reason. They won 27-13, dominating run game. The defense was there, what we've heard about all year, and they were very impressive. The guy that I'm going to keep my eye on over the next few weeks is Nick Wallerstedt. He's the quarterback. He took over for Noah Grover after he got hurt. And Wallerstedt, we still don't really know much about him because he only made 7 pass attempts. But that's okay because Mountain Point had such a good running game that he didn't even have to throw a pass until a minute into the second quarter. That's how dominant they were in the run game. He was able to break off one pretty long run, about 20 yards. That set up a touchdown, went 5 for 7 on the game. And moving forward, we'll see how he does, but in terms of context, Noah Grover attempted 14 passes per game. He attempted about 7. So we'll see what they do as they kind of shore up their resume and their lineup here over the next 2 weeks before they go to the playoffs.
Eric and I were looking at the schedule for this upcoming weekend, Jordan, and we kept seeing Tucson games. That one's a big game. Oh, that one's a big game. Oh, that one's a big game. So I'm going to talk about maybe some tidbits around some of the Tucson teams and the matchups that are coming up this week. I'm going to start with the big one, South Point against Catalina Foothills. That has playoff ramifications. It has section ramifications. I was kind of catching up with Rhett Rodriguez a little bit because I haven't looked at his name in a few weeks. It's been since the beginning of the season. What a season he's quietly having. 66% of his passes have been completed, 20 touchdowns to just 1 interception through 8 games. That's going to be a big one. And another game I have on my radar is 2 teams playing each other, again, playoff ramifications, and aren't used to playing this time of year for big games. You've got Desert View going up against Marana. Starting with Desert View, Alex Cordamanchi is leading the state in rushing. He's got over 1,700 yards rushing, averaging 220 yards per game. Desert View has 7 wins this season. They had 6 in the previous 3 combined.
Wow.
So they have really come on. They beat their rival Sunnyside for the first time since 1989. Greg Hansen and Daniel Ganoa with the StarNet down in Tucson have done a great job chronicling all the great stuff. And then over on the Marana side, what a story they have developing in their quarterback with Connor Levins. His father passed away last Wednesday, 2 days before their game on Friday night against Poston Butte. Playing with a heavy heart, threw for 335 yards and 4 touchdowns and a big win. These 2 teams are going to be meeting this Friday night. It should be a big one for both, and there should be a lot of energy around it.
You know, one thing about Catalina Foothills, Rhett Rodriguez gets a lot of the publicity, but that is a team. A lot of those players have been playing together since they were sophomores on varsity, and you're really seeing each year the gradual improvement, and this year they're having a big season as a team.
And that's been the Brophy model with Coach Molander the last few years, is he's taken some talented underclassmen, played them together, and it's resulted in a lot of success by the time they're seniors. That could be what Catalina Foothills is working towards this year. Looking at the games that you guys are headed to this weekend, let's go to you, Jordan. You're going to see Desert Ridge for the 2nd straight week.
Yeah, seeing Desert Ridge take on Desert Vista on the road. The one thing that I'm going to be looking for is Tyrese Allen. He's their main running back. He's the playmaker on that offense. They're really able to grind it out when things are going well for them. So Mountain Point was able to shut down the offense kind of as a whole for Desert Ridge this past week, so I'm looking forward to see how they bounce back against Desert Vista.
And Nick Thomas, the quarterback at Desert Vista, has seen his recruitment pick up the last several weeks. How about you, Eric?
Something's got to give in the game I'm going to. You have 5-3 Cactus Shadows traveling to 5-3 Thunderbird. Both teams are on 2-game losing streaks, and both of these squads, they love to run the football. I'm going to be keeping my eye on the 3-headed monster at Cactus Shadows with Andrew Young, Hayden Rummel, and Kuhn Payton. The trio has over 1,600 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns through 8 games.
And the game I'm going to this weekend, I'll be calling the game between Brophy and Chandler at Chandler High. You can check that out here on Sports 360 AZ. Myself and Chris Cartman will be calling the game. Until next week, Eric Sorensen, Jordan Ham, Jared Cohen, it's AZ Audibles on Sports360AZ.com.